Hey everyone, thanks for joining us here today. Big topic, AI. I think a lot of people have probably heard about AI over the last couple of years. With, I would say, ChatGPT, that's probably when it's become more consumerized and more people are hearing about it and now trying to figure out, how does this come into construction? So just a quick raise of hands from the audience. How many of you guys are actively trying to deploy some type of AI technology in your company? Okay, pretty good number. Awesome. Well, today we'll cover some of the challenges from, a owner startup as well as investing perspective, and then hopefully we'll end all of this on a pretty, positive note in the sense of there's, a lot that's going to be happening over the next couple of years. So yeah, we'll get started. My name is Alice Leung. I'm an investor at Brick and Mortar Ventures. We're a construction tech investor focusing on seed and Series A. And I'm also on the board of Building Transformations. So I'm the moderator today, and then I'll let our panelists introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about the company they work for and what they do. So Scott?
Thanks, Allison. Thanks for having me here. My name is Scott Kaplanis. I'm the managing partner of GroundBreak Ventures. We're based here in Toronto. We're a leading property technology and home innovation VC. We invest at the very early stages, so anything from a pre-seed, even ideation company up to Series A, which we define as the beginning of a company showing the signs of scale for first check, 2 or more checks into a company as they grow. We've made about 30 investments. We invest across North America and Europe. We also run the first of its kind prop tech accelerator program here in Canada in partnership with the DMZ and Toronto Metropolitan University. You can check out their booth outside. And we are doing advisory work currently with the CMHC, the Canadian Mortgage and Housing Corporation, on their $300 million housing supply challenge to get more homes into Canada faster to deal with our housing crisis.
Adam?
All right, thank you, Alice. My name is Adam Wisniewski. I'm a CTO co-founder of A Clearing. We are based in Austin, Texas. We specialize with, yes, that's why the name. And we specialize with progress tracking quality control for large projects. So large meaning all infrastructure, road, rail, pipelines. And we do a lot of solar right now. All the renewables are hitting it. We work mostly stateside in Canada. We also have large clients and projects in Western Europe, so Portugal, Spain, UK, France. And we do a lot of in Saudi, in Dubai. For instance, right now we are running a 1.8 gigawatt solar farm in Dubai, which is, just to give you an idea, imagine a square 8 by 8 miles square. Yeah, so this is the area of sites we are dealing right now. Yeah, super happy to be here.
Adolfo?
Hi. My name is Adolfo Gutierrez. I'm working for Ferrovial Construction, but today I will be representing OTG. So OTG is the joint venture between Vinci Construction and Ferrovial Construction that we are building the Ontario South Line project, the South contract, the one from Exhibition Station to Cortown. Ferrovial Construction is a Spanish contractor and operator. Ferrovial is the group, and as contractor we have been working in Canada for many years and in the US, and as an operator, for example, 407 is one of the greatest examples of operations here. I'm working in the JV as a digital delivery manager. I've been working for Ferrovial for 8 years. I moved here to Toronto last year, and I was working in head office for 8 years, mainly focused on BIM, digital processes, implementation, and data management, and now mainly focused on data management and processes digitalization.
Awesome. We have got a great group of panelists today. So yeah, starting off, I've been talking to a lot of AI companies, talking to a lot of contractors, and what we're hearing is that, at least in the US market, there are a couple of owners that are starting to write in contractual language that you cannot run data, project data through any, OpenAI or some of the other Gen AI tools out there. There's a couple of code bodies that are now not allowing people to do that. So ASTM is one big example. If you go on the ASTM website today, they have this disclaimer that says like, you cannot run any of our code through OpenAI or any equivalent kind of AI model. I think a lot of it is very, CYA, because we just don't know what's going to happen. So kind of diving in, more on the regulatory challenges and that type of stuff. Adolfo, what have you seen, from both projects or even internally, any of those regulatory challenges, and what are you guys doing around that?
So I would say that for now, in project agreements or any kind of agreement that we have signed with a client, we have not seen any clause avoiding us for using any kind of AI. It's true that what my experience, what I have seen is that they want to own the data at the very end of the project. Is something that is, of course, in their interest. But probably what I have noticed in the last years is that they are trying to get the data earlier than by the end of the project. Probably because they want to start working with that data earlier during the construction stage, not only just as an as-built or as a digital twin model or whatever at the very end. So that's something that I have noticed, that the interest from the clients are starting to be more interesting. But from our side, I would say that for the last few years, of course, after the boom of ChatGPT, everything has changed. But for the last few years, I think we have been playing around with AI, mainly focused on some products as AI clearing. I have not personally don't know your product, but I know that we have been using it for real in other projects. But I don't know, there are products that they have been they are implementing some AI-based features, both from natural language models or image recognition, such as OpenSpace or things, products like this. But I think until now, we have not strengthened like a proper strategy for implementing AI across different business use cases. Right now, we have been playing around in some projects with very specific use cases, and based on features and information that was in some of the platforms or products that we selected.
Thank you. And Adam, you've touched projects from all across the world as a service provider. What have you seen from a regulatory perspective?
Yeah, so I've seen both actually stateside and in Europe that right now in like large tenders, RFPs, owners and EPCs are putting clauses like you have to ensure that your AI is the AI you're using is actually certified, has some sort of standardization, like SOC 2. And it's actually very rare right now. I can speak to that because last year we were the first company on the planet to have an ISO standard ISO standard certified for AI. Yeah, Samsung was second, and it's actually very crucial right now because if we are dealing with the critical infrastructure, energy, all of that, and you don't know what happens within OpenAI. Yeah, you have no idea, and believe me, it's not nice. Data, like it has been spoken earlier today, data is worse than oil because there's going to be more and more of it, every day. So now how you manage this information, how it's handled, all the designs, maybe not substantial for you at this given moment, but later down the line, 5 years, those thousands of schedules, information, detailed information about the layout plans might be useful for someone, You don't know. So I can see that clients are getting very anxious about this, and especially that people start to realize after using, to be honest, when we started doing AI 5 years ago, because we've been doing AI before ChatGPT, 5 years ago or 4 years ago, we'd go to construction community and we'll say we are using AI. It would be like, okay, nice research project or something like this. Whereas thanks to ChatGPT, after everyone has written a letter to his dog about his favorite pizza, apparently it became material, substantial, So, and people start realizing, and all the science fiction movies we've been, watching all our lives come to life, And you start thinking what can happen with this data, and it's getting very real, So we see global RFPs from major owners when they require you to provide some sort of certification, So it's maybe not AI Act like in Europe, which is also rolling in heavy on this, but this will happen.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of data privacy related stuff too. Not all AI related, but I think data is probably the kind of bigger thing. So you brought up a good point on, ChatGPT kind of changing the game, right? I mean, AI has been around for a really long time. It's not new. You guys were founded 5 years ago, or probably, the tech was founded even, before that, right? Like people had been researching this for a long time. And, there's been many iterations of types of AI in construction. I would say computer vision is probably one of the earliest ones that have come in and really made a big splash. And then of course, there's a big distinction between computer vision AI to document AI to Gen AI. There's all these different AIs. And Adam, I'd actually love for you to talk a little bit about like what are the AI models that AI clearing is using, and maybe just demystify or help clarify, some of the differences between the AIs, because I think a lot of people just kind of lump it all together, and it's like, we're doing BIM, we're doing AI, right? Like there's so many varying levels of BIM. There's also varying levels of AI.
That's very much true. And as I said before, the ChatGPT revolution, if we call this, brought in this LLMs. LLM stands for large language models. So essentially, that's very easy for us humans to interact because this is how we do work all day. We think in, we can say images, but words are very easy for us to transfer. So when we talk to the machine and with a language that goes back, it's easy. It's also easier for data to be prepared. So I've seen the number 100 mil to train ChatGPT 4. I think it was at least missing 1 or 2 zeros. So it's easier. That's why all those models have started with the text, because it's easier. Yeah. So if I can have 2 minutes just to maybe. I'm not sure, guys, how the models are trained. There are different types of models: text models, visual models, video models, voice models, like 11 Labs is doing amazing voice models. ChatGPT is its own thing. But to do that, you need data. Yeah. So you imagine that every book you read ever was read before by OpenAI guys all over the world. When they would read a sentence, John opened the door waiting for his favorite dog. And there would be a person looking at this very sentence and attributing to every single word in this sentence, in this single book that you read, attributes, like several meta attributes: positive, romantic, exciting, not exciting, connections of those words, and then building the whole metaverse around this one single sentence, and then around the book. Yeah. So I'm just giving you the idea of complexity, how the engines are built. Moreover, the engines are not really intelligent right now. This is more very powerful statistical engines. Yeah. So when they're built, when it's actually telling you the best use of, lentils is you mix them with, and then it looks at its engine and it suggests either tomatoes or pineapples. And so it suggests pineapples are really on the low side, tomatoes might be on the higher side, but we use already tomatoes. So we're gonna switch the sentiment because the input was to be more creative. So we're gonna use tomatoes. We're gonna see some, heirloom tomatoes, something different. Yeah. So I'm not sure you're getting this, but this is a very complex, even this text thing is a very complex thing. That's why when you see like ChatGPT movies right now, when they go intermodal, so you have voice, text, video, this is very complex, it's not yet released. It's, by the way, it's not very energy efficient at all. But yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing for tagging images in computer vision, the same basic process.
Yes.
For people to understand.
Yes. So thank you for bringing me to my part, but it's like for us, computer vision, so essentially training AI to understand what they see on the images, yeah? And it can be absolutely very difficult because we have, like in our case, we have huge images, yeah, those huge sites that we have the data in 3D, not only these are not flat, in 3D, and we have to assign them to different classes. So, we have like data lake-wise, we have billions of objects, yeah? Identified not by squares, but very precise circles about, borders around the different types of objects, whether it's steel, concrete, slab, machinery, stuff like this, actually to train AI and to do it actually fast. Yeah? This is one of the things that also happened with AI that you can see if you have ChatGPT on your phone, that you type it in and it happens very fast because of the data centers. Like 3 years ago, there were no data centers. We were training AI 3 years ago on the servers in our office because there were no computer graphic cards available in the cloud that you can train and actually run those models. It changed tremendously. Yeah.
Random question for the audience. Who here is building a data center or working on a data center project? Okay, that's actually less than I expected because there's literally data centers getting built everywhere. And there's, just massive kind of, and you mentioned not very good for the environment, a lot of energy use. I don't know if you guys are seeing the demand on the grid. There's a lot of, at least in the US, there are certain cities where there's not enough power for homes because the data centers are consuming all the electricity. And from a water use perspective, the data centers actually use a lot of water to cool the server racks and stuff like that. So from a AI perspective, I think it's, for us in construction, it's very interesting to see just the infrastructure demand on the data side.
Yeah, actually, that's why a lot of data centers being built in US right now, they have renewable part like, solar or energy storage or wind. But still, just, every poem to your dog that you ask ChatGPT to write, these are, minutes of light bulbs burning, yeah?
Yeah.
Every single thing.
Yeah, and they all need baseload power, whether that's nuclear or whether it's ultimately fossil fuel. It's not going to be able to be run just by solar and wind, so they need traditional energy sources.
I was reading the other day that actually a ChatGPT query consumes 10 times than a Google search. And I have heard also that the OpenAI company, they are developing their own web browser. So now you will be able to interact with ChatGPT, but across all the websites, so not only sentences, but they will be summarizing the content of some websites that you are looking for. So the accuracy of the searches will be way higher. But imagine how the consumption of those searches is. Everyone moves from Google right now to this browser. The consumption at least will be 10 times what we are consuming with Google.
Yeah, that's a perfect segue to the next question for Scott. You kind of mentioned, there's probably a better type of model for different use cases. And of course, prior question, there's been a lot of new AI models and there's just so much AI coming at the AEC space. So Scott, could you talk a little bit about how you guys are evaluating this? Is it from technology perspective? Is it from a use case perspective? Or is it more from a need perspective?
Yeah, I think we approach AI really in the sense that what we're trying to invest in is companies that have customers, because customers ultimately provide data and data is used to train a model. I don't think that's crazy rocket science, but I doubt that we will at GroundBreak Ventures suggest that we are going to find the data science team that is going to create some crazy breakthrough in an LLM or otherwise. That's not going to be our thing. We are going to be investing in companies that can actually acquire data, that have maybe permissioned that data appropriately, that can train on that data, and that can use other models that are developed, whether in Silicon Valley or elsewhere, to create use cases in the field. And so that's how we look at it. We're not trying to revolutionize the actual compute or the models themselves. And I do think one interesting thing for maybe some folks in this room, and they're thinking about their AI strategy, and we think about this too, is there's going to be a number of companies that have an internal AI strategy of some kind and that are going to learn on their own data. And that's very interesting. And I would think that those companies, if they resource it properly, can get hyper efficient and optimize what they're doing really, really, really well. But then what that won't do is give you a perspective outside of the information that you're building within your company. And so that's where I think embracing different types of technology solutions as an augment or a complement to whatever you're doing internally is still required. Otherwise, you're just going to get really, really, really good about what you're doing and you're going to miss something else that may leapfrog you or maybe a better way of doing things because you can't possibly learn it in that sense.
Yeah, I think that's the big, not necessarily debate, but it's the opportunity to miss opportunity. It's if you, hold all your data internally and train your own stuff, you can't really benchmark against anyone else. And then there's also this argument. I mean, I feel I'm a little, hey, let's hold hands and sing Kumbaya. Could we create a coalition where we all share our data and help each other? I mean, I know construction is a very, competitive industry, but it's like things like that where it's like, okay, well, we all have really good data. Obviously, data is important for a lot of these companies, for startups and big companies. But is there a way for us to get over this bias that our data is proprietary and maybe in the greater good of things, if we all want to be more productive, we should actually share?
I'm not sure that this alliance might be formed officially, but definitely we are doing that on our side because we work with all the major contractors in US. So we are getting data from all the different projects or the different execution styles, actually, if you think of it, yeah? Because from a science perspective, if you build AI only based on your experiences, it's like, I don't know, writing a cookbook on your own kitchen. I mean, it's going to be great on the stuff you like, yeah? But you're going to meet all the Italian flavors I'm not really good at, yeah?
Yeah.
So this kind of approach, yeah?
Yeah. Adolfo, do you have any comments on, just given you guys have your own requirements around data privacy, data processes, how are you guys handling some of that?
So first thing that I would say is that ChatGPT is blocked in our company. It was blocked almost 1 year ago because precisely that, because we didn't want to train, we didn't want our employees to offer information that might be confidential to train the models that maybe others can benefit. I don't think it's that we don't want ChatGPT or Copilot to train their models. We definitely want that. But what we try to avoid is the risk of missing information, confidential information that might be against us. So from that blockage of ChatGPT came together with custom development of ChatGPT based on our company. So we are taking profit of the latest models. This was based on a major agreement that we had with Microsoft a couple of years ago, and everything was came together. But now we are not only taking profit of the public ChatGPT model or the OpenAI model, but also trying to feed it with corporate information. So right now, for example, in all the searches that you do in Bing, that would be the browser, everything that you collect from the searches will come together with the internet stuff, but also internet stuff based on that ChatGPT, custom ChatGPT that we called Maya. We have started incorporated some of the most structured information that we had already, like financial, HR information. So you are able to interact with your Teams application, with your Copilot application, and with your browser with information from at a corporate level. But I think and we are starting to feed it with more information like contracts, clauses, information from claims, from variation, and things like this. So the people can start bidding better. Especially, I think was one of the main focus for the bidding department. But that has been always developed from a corporate level. One of the things that we are starting to do is to deep dive a little bit more in a project level with information within the project. So maybe reading from EDMS platform, operational management platform like checklist-based or form-based platform, information coming maybe from 360 images, videos, static images or videos from the CCTV cameras, drones, as AI clearing, for example. This kind of information, I think this is the relevant thing for not only the corporate C-level people in our head office in Madrid, but also the people that are actually in the project taking profit of the information that we are producing daily. So I think one of the good examples that we are starting to develop is reports, automated reports based on ChatGPT coming from information from the superintendents that they are typing some information from forms and basic daily logs that they are feeding. They are feeding automatically reports to the C-level of the project based on very informal language that the superintendent is producing, but more in a formal language. Actually, we are starting to submit those reports because we need to report similar things to the client. So some of the reports that we are providing to the client that are monthly reports, they are fed by superintendent reports, but formalized in a more formal language with ChatGPT. So that is the kind of approach that we are trying to have in Ontario Transit Group, because the corporate level that we have, the approach that we have in Ferrovial at the corporate level is not the good enough for what we are looking for in the project.
Yeah, and it's great that you guys are just using, off-the-shelf tools, really. You don't really need construction specific for some of the summarizing, the reporting, and that type of stuff. So I'm curious, Scott, how are you guys looking at, are any of these models becoming commoditized? Do we need construction specific, or do we, should we actually be looking at some of these more general AI tools and try to pull them into the construction industry rather than like, hey, we need a construction startup just to do this, point solution per se for our industry?
I think generally it's pulling in from other areas, other verticals. We don't necessarily need our own. That the only thing the caveat there would be, there are specific elements of construction work, whether that's the documentations, whether that is the field work itself, that is specific to the industry. And those, let's say, broader horizontal approaches may not get to construction in a relevant way for a period of time. And that actually might be okay for the industry, because there's a lot of stuff to do that has nothing to do with AI right now in construction. So there's a lot of low-hanging fruit to go after before that is relevant. So it's not that there aren't specific use cases. And I definitely think things that are happening in the field, probably through computer vision, frankly, are very much focused on the sector. But we will get there. It's a question of how rapid adoption do we really need to execute on what we're doing right now, versus like a very basic function of what Adolfo said about pulling inputs into a report. Like, that's great. That's simple. We can do it today. Then that solves probably 95% of the efficiency requirement for that field reporting that we need. So I don't know if we need anything else right now. We will, but today I think let's just get out of paper. Let's get our data secure. Let's get it siloed. Let's get it usable and clean, and then we can set the stage for the next layer of growth.
Yeah, I did hear from some customers that the best thing that AI has done was more create conversation around data and structuring data. And it's not even necessarily like, hey, we should implement, ChatGPT, Copilot, whatever it is. It's more like everyone just realized that, like, if you have shit data, it's garbage in, garbage out, right? If you have bad data, just like if you have bad data in your BIM, right? It's like, it's useless, right? So I think that's been a really good kind of just industry like mindset change, is like, oh, we actually should capture our data, go digital, stop putting everything in paper, because for this AI unlock, by the way, we need database of information.
It also goes this way, that I've seen some companies go very anxious about their data and start building data castles and even siloing it even further within the organization and outside. It can go this way, right? So we are so restrictive with our data, so we really keep it very close.
I think for some of the innovators or startups or scale-up companies in the room, like, what it's offered is relevancy and a direct line of access to the C-suite in a way that's very rare. It was probably like ESG 2 to 3 years ago. Now it's AI, and what you go and sell doesn't actually have to be AI, but it can be part of a broader data strategy, and that's your window in, because they've all used ChatGPT to talk about their dogs and their pizzas.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, good segue to our next question about, getting in, software providers and selling to construction. I know AI in the past has been, black box-ish, or it's been magic. Like, you throw something at a computer and then it spits out some output and you have no idea how it works, right? And in some sense, ChatGPT, there's been a lot of hallucinations, right? There's been, and you can validate this very easily by asking it a bunch of questions for things that it probably shouldn't know, but it pretends that it knows, or it's giving the wrong answer. So there is kind of a little bit of a cautionary stance around this, particularly when you want to leverage this type of LLM technology for finding information that is like very important to a construction project, right? It's like if you're dealing with financial information or schedule information, sometimes you just can't have it accidentally say the wrong thing. So for Adam, because you guys have been doing AI for so long, how have you like built trust with your customers and had them trust that, you know, you guys aren't just doing some black magic stuff, or you're not just shipping your information overseas and having, you know, manual labor go do some calculations. So how have you guys have built that trust with your customers?
Yeah, so we are really AI, so we don't have manual labor. I'm saying it out loud on the record. We do have some quality control on border cases or edge cases, if you will. It happens all the time, so we do that. But to be honest, building trust takes a lot of time, a lot of field tests that we would drive out to a construction site. I remember 2 hours out of Calgary in Vulcan County, and we were showing the guys in the containers, really out in the field, showing us, guys, this data from the inspection yesterday on the solar farm, and we have this functionality called missing piles. I know it sounds silly, but essentially helping guys to find the piles they're missing. In order to complete construction, and we show them, well, you're missing this pile here, this pile here, this pile here, and you know, the super gets up, say, okay, let's say if you're not full of BS, and we got to his truck. I got a bit pale because you never know what's going to happen in the field. We drove out, and we went to the exact location because our solution gives you exact location of the missing piles. We drove out, and there were missing piles. Yeah, in the forest of 6 feet tall steel pillars around, you found this one missing pile that's not there. Yeah. And actually, this kind of test has proven over and over. We had a couple of conversations like this, and then they stopped. Yeah, then they stopped, and it's not a question of whether we deliver the data or not, but literally going to the field, eating donuts with the guys, going in a truck to this exact site that you say something happened or something did not happen, and saying, well, this is the really ground truth test. Yeah, there's no way of hallucination for us. Our AI for solar is 99.995% accurate. To give you an idea, we have this mindset that we as humans are unfailable, so we are not making mistakes. So we actually did tests when we put senior engineers in front of the data that we give to our AI, and they knew that they were tested against the AI. So the accuracy on the data verification tests were 84 to 86%. Yeah. So just to give you an idea, if we say that people don't make mistakes, they do. They do a lot of mistakes. Yeah. So for us, this 99.9995% is very high, and we are trying to push every week this curve further. It's becoming harder and harder, but it's still working for us. I can also tell you one interesting story. 3 years ago, or 4, when we were doing one of the rounds, we had one of the investors from San Francisco ask us to talk to a super experienced PhD from Stanford. He worked for Amazon Go project, so the stores. Remember the stores, the AI stores, Amazon AI stores? And we had 2-hour session with this guy, and we told him what's our data strategy with AI, how we want to develop this, where we are going. And to be honest, guys, he destroyed us. Yeah, I mean, he really smashed us into the ground. Yet everything we are doing is wrong. Every possible way, our aims are wrong. Everything we are doing is wrong. And this is like when you're building a company. It's a moment that you actually think, are we all right? Are we going in the right direction? We decided we are. And just to talk about that we are real AI, is that six months ago came out that this Amazon Go was actually using 5,000 guys in India to analyze the data from the stores. Yeah. Yeah. So I know it takes a couple of years to come out on top, but yeah, no BS on our side, at least.
I just think that you have to think these are mission critical, multi-million, $100 million projects where taking a risk is just not acceptable, right? It's not like you're trying to serve me up as a consumer an ad, and if you get it wrong, no one cares. So I think you just need both. You're not pitching an either or. Like, you can use this data model to do X, Y, Z, and now you don't need the human. You need a human. And if you couple, I mean, you've probably done this testing, but if you couple, let's say, computer vision or an algorithm with a human in the loop, is that 99.9999, like, in terms of accuracy? Like, is that the best possible option? And if it is, you're just making people more efficient.
Yeah, actually, people close this 0.00005%, and it's easier and less work than closing the other. And if you look at this, if you're talking about large, let's say, solar farm, if you're talking about hundreds of thousands of pillars on the ground, we are missing few. Yeah, this is not a lot. Yeah. And like discrepancies, to be honest, when we deployed first AI on the first project, talking about trust in industry, when we deployed the first models on the large projects, it was the middle of the COVID. Discrepancy, what was being reported by Subco and us, was 30%, 30, wow. Day after day. Yeah, so you can imagine it led to a lot of difficult conversation with our clients when they're saying, guys, this is what you're giving me. We have this trusted guy working for us for 15 years, and you're telling us he's giving us false data. Yeah, you're giving us false data. Yeah, so we did manual recounts. They sent the team during the COVID regime to the site. Yeah, we never had any further conversation about our AI later on. Yeah, so this builds trust. Yeah, all the war stories I'm sharing right now, this is exactly how it goes down.
I would like to add that apart from data that all these models, of course, they need, one of the things that I have noticed, and is logical because the products that the platforms that they are starting to develop, this kind of AI-based features or solutions and everything, will train their models mainly with the data that is inside the platform, of course. So that sometimes can be a little bit limited because apart from the data that you need for training the models, for gaining more and more accuracy, I think one of the critical things that you need to provide to it is context. So right now, I don't know how many millions of parameters ChatGPT-4 have right now. I think it's around 2 million parameters or something that is related with the context of how you are querying the information, querying the model to retrieve the answer. So the most context that you provide, either if it's a geolocation context, if it's a 3D model, for example, could be contrasted with the imagery from the drones or from 360 cameras as they are doing, for example, open space or other kind of context that is local to the project that maybe is not based on the documents that you upload to the ChatGPT, but it's maybe about conversations that you are having with the client or minutes of meetings that provide more insights to the query. I think that is critical, and I think that these products that are very focused on one specific use case might be finding a little bit limited with providing more use cases that will benefit for construction. That's why I think our company is trying to have like a collaborative approach as well with these companies, because we will gain a lot of benefits collaborating with them and partnership with them, because we can share some insights that they are not able to reach because the information is not hosted in their platforms. I think that's also the collaboration that we need to have between the data owners, that maybe is a client or a main contractor, with the developers.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So I think we only have a couple more minutes left. So last question for the panelists. Maybe just talk a little bit about what are you excited about for this future around AI? Scott?
I think two areas that we're particularly interested in right now, given that we have a bit more of a focus on home and home building and things along those lines. Number one is just planning, permitting, zoning information, and being able to suss out, is this permit going to be approved? If not, why? What could we do? I think that is all very good field for AI to be utilized.
Please,
and then the other
urgent for Ontario land, very urgent.
yeah, given that we're waiting 3 years to get things done. And then the other one I'd say is probably along the lines of robotics in powering offsite manufacturing to help build homes faster and more efficiently and things along those lines. So I think those two areas are both areas that we focus on right now.
I can tell you that's what's exciting. What I see, the market is growing, especially US side, incredibly, like in renewables, like 3 times year over year. And at the same time, there are less and less people in construction. Yeah. So what I'm super excited to see that the tools like super powered tools, if you wish, powered by AI, actually come in and actually make those guys, those men and women on the construction site, more valuable than ever, more efficient than ever. And it's very badly needed, yeah, because really there's not enough people in construction right now, yeah, and the only way to fill this huge gap, chasm that's happening and it's broadening every year between the amount of workforce and the number of projects is only with the superpower tools. So I'm super excited to see that being deployed every year coming up.
I would say that our focus right now would be doing more efficient the contractual approach. One of the, in this kind of major contracts, there is contractual fights from the very beginning. And I think one of the challenges that we have with the contracts team is how to interact with the contract, a document that is, I think it's about 2,000 pages. How we interact with all the exchange of correspondences with client and supply chain. In the 1-year project that we have right now, we have exchanged around 3,000 letters with the letters.
Nice love story.
Letters, not emails, letters. And we have around 50,000 drawings, and we are only around the 50% of design. So I would say that one of the approaches that we are having is from a document-based or document management-based system to a knowledge-based system. So one of the approaches is trying to deep dive a little bit into the content of the documents, the clauses, the risks that we identified in contracts, or even in drawings. We are not developing that in OTG, but Ferrovial is doing some approach in that for looking for or searching drawings more efficiently based on image recognition for floor, identifying maybe floor plans, disciplines, locations, or things like this that could benefit a lot in efficiency for the engineers. I think that is the focus for our project.
Awesome. I love it. So major themes, augmenting the workforce, whether it's in the office, finding stuff, being virtual assistants. I think a lot of people are calling AIs kind of like interns right now because they're not super smart and they're all very green. You kind of have to, lead them along the journey. So hopefully in the next couple of years, we'll turn AI interns into AI virtual assistants or AI assistant project managers, whatever it is. And also for the field side, there is a lot of AI that's powering robotics. And I think it just doesn't seem obvious, but robotics leverage a lot of AIs on some of that decision making and stuff like that. So I'm very excited for the AI future. And I think I've seen a couple of AI presentations and they all end with this quote, which is AI won't take your job away, but a human using AI will take your job. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you.